Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Rising of Buddhist One. This is Nancy from International Buddha Dharma Society for Cosmic Loyal America. Today is August 12th. Summer still here. It's very warm. Last two talks, we talked about the first and the second noble truth, the noble truth of suffering and the cause of suffering. And we know from the last talk, the cause of suffering is cravings, many kinds of cravings. And today we will talk about the third noble truth, the cessation of suffering. Before the talk, let's pay homage to the Buddha. Please join your palms and say with me. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. The Buddha said the cause of suffering is cravings. So to end all the sufferings is to abandon all the cravings. In the sutras, many times the Buddha told us, do not discriminate. Do not discriminate, big and small, sister, brother. Do not make these discriminations. There isn't good or bad. Everything is just cause and effect. When we look back our life and we know those people who may have given us uneasiness, worries, and tensions, often these are the people that make us grow stronger inside. Do you agree? All people around us are anchored by ourselves, and each of them is like one measure of us, and each one reflects ourselves. If we see some bad habits from some people, then maybe we ourselves have bad habits, and we need to self-check, reflect, and see if we have those bad habits and then we correct them. Everyone is a measure of us, and they're here to help us to grow, to correct, to change. Everything is illusion. The universe is compassionate. The universe knows what each of us really needs. So the universe creates the environment for us to grow, to change, to shape, to better shape us. It's like trees, for example. Tall trees cannot grow inside the house. They have to grow outside. They have to experience the big wind, the rains, the sunshine, and those difficulties that can make them grow stronger. Right? And you see those plants inside, they normally are skinny, not strong. Though growing outside, the trees may get scars, coarse skins, but they're stronger. So are us. We have to experience different and difficult conditions, situations, so we can grow stronger. About compassion, today I had a post and I asked people what is true compassion, and different people give different answers. Let me share you a story or some stories about compassion. And the first story that I want to share with you is a rich man and a beggar. So on the street, a rich person saw a beggar and a poor man. So out of empathy, the rich person bought a fried chicken to the beggar. And the beggar accepted the chicken, and he ate the chicken, but then he died shortly after. This is the first story that I shared to the people, and now I share with you. And the reason I will talk about later. And the second story that I want to share with you is a venerate monk, an abbot in a temple. So he had a old mother, an old lady who was very old and she couldn't take care of herself. And she knew her son was in that temple, a big temple. So she went to see her son and asked him to let her stay there so she could have meals. Her son refused her and said, "My meals, my clothing, everything that I use are not mine. They are offerings from all the people. I accept the offering because every day I recite sutras, mantras, I chant the name of the Buddha, and then I transfer all the merit to these people for them to erase their karma, so I can accept their offerings. But you cannot because you are not doing anything and you haven't accumulated anything. If you accept these meals, if you eat these meals, you are creating karma and it is not good to you." His mother didn't understand and she was angry and she said, "I raised you and you're supposed to take care of me." And the abbot was silent for a while. He thought for a while and then he said, "You can stay, but you have to listen to me and do what I tell you to do." And then he let his mother every day chanted the name of the Buddha. And if she chanted one time the name of the Buddha, Amitabha, and then the abbot would give her 1 grain of rice. So if she chanted 100 times, and she would get 100 grains of rice. And that's what she did. And after 3 years, by chanting the name of the Buddha, his mother cultivated, and then she got purified by chanting the name of the Buddha. So after about 3 years, his mother knew she was leaving. She knew she was leaving this world. So she asked to see the abbot, and she saw the abbot, and she thanked the abbot, and she paid homage to the abbot and told him she's leaving, and the abbot smiled. To me, this is truly the true compassion. This is the compassion. True compassion is to transform the person and rescue him or her out of this world, from out of samsara, transmigration, get liberated. This is true compassion. So what about the first story? The rich person did a good deed, according to his view. However, as a beggar, the beggar did not have blessings anymore. She didn't accumulate much blessings, so the fried chicken used all his blessings. That's why his life ended. I hope from these two stories you can understand the true compassion. True compassion is to transform, to liberate this person from the suffering state. And another story to share with you. A couple of months ago, there was a news. This news is about a group of Buddhists. This group of Buddhists, out of good intention, they gathered together and they prayed for the world because of the pandemic. However, after the gathering, some of these Buddhists, they got infected by the virus. And one of my colleagues, and he came to me and told me this news, and I knew he was suspicious. I knew he had a question in mind. Why these Buddhists could get infected out of good intention? I didn't say anything to him. But I knew people, sometimes a good deed could be a bad deed, because the common person, we don't know the cause and effect. We cannot see through. We cannot see the truth. COVID-19, to most people, they are bad. They will say, okay, this demon virus, they say it's a bad thing. However, everything happens for a reason. There's always a cause for this effect. To the heaven, there's no good or bad. To the heaven, COVID-19 is not good or bad. It's simply the operation of the cause and effect. So don't say demon COVID-19 anymore. It's also a way to erase karma, the people's karma, humans' karma on the earth. It's also a way to purify the earth. Erase karma, purify the earth. So when you do a good deed, you might be doing against the heaven's will. If you go against the heaven's will, it's not a good deed, truly. And this is the other story that I share with people today, and I'm sharing with you about good deeds. Even though maybe out of good intention, but it might turn out to be a bad deed. So, and also people may have a misunderstanding. They might think as Buddhists, they are protected somehow, maybe by the Buddha, maybe by the heaven. But as Buddhist, we believe in Buddha, and we believe in the Buddha's teaching. The most important thing is we practice according to the Buddha's teaching. We follow the Buddha's teaching. Many people say, I believe in Buddha, but they don't really understand. They don't really know the Buddha. They don't read the biography of the Buddha. They don't know the Buddha's life. They don't read sutras. They don't know the Buddha's teachings. They don't know, and they don't correct their manners, questions. They just say, okay, I believe in Buddha. And some of them might go to the Buddha and ask for something. Maybe a beautiful wife, maybe a handsome husband, maybe kids, maybe a happy family, maybe wealth. All of these pursuing is actually against the Buddha's teaching. As Buddhists, we have to practice hard. There isn't an easy way to be a Buddhist. We learn from the Buddha. We learn from the Buddha's practice, Buddha's teaching. We follow the Buddha, but we don't ask for anything. And this is my explanation about Buddhist. It's not that you'll be protected or forgiven or your road will be easy. That's not the truth about Buddhists. And another story that I share with people today is about something happening in the Ganges River in India. When we went to India, there are people, and even now there are people in the Ganges River. They catch fish and then they sell fish to the visitors. Often they're Buddhists because many Buddha believers, they go to India to visit the holy places. And Ganges River is one stop in their trip because Ganges River is very famous and the Buddha often mentioned Ganges River in the sutras. And Ganges River to Indian people, it's a secret river. It's a mother river. So they go to Ganges River and they will buy fish and then set the fish free, and which they think is a good deed to do. However, their action, their setting fish free, created a business for local people. So the local people there, they would catch fish and then sell the fish to the visitors for the visitors to set the fish free. Is it funny? So a good deed turned out to be not good deed. The fish don't have to be caught, and then set free. They just stay in the water all the time. That's okay, right? Is it funny? I thought it's a funny thing. Talking about compassion. There are countless Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, guardians, higher beings actually. They are watching the earth and watching what is happening on the earth. They are watching what is happening in your life, but they don't do anything. They don't intervene. They don't interfere these things. Unless you ask for help, they will help. Compassion is not emotion. Compassion, they observe, but they cannot interfere. They just let cause and effect run, let law run. But if you need help, ask for help. In a good way, you will get helped. Okay, these are the stories that I wanted to share with you. And Today we'll talk about the third noble truth, the cessation of suffering. Now we come back to the sutra. We will listen to the Buddha's words about cessation of suffering. The noble truth of the cessation of dukkha or suffering. It is still from the Mahasatipassana Sutra. Listen to the Buddha's words. The Buddha explained in detail. The Buddha said, "And what bhikkhus is the noble truth of the cessation of dukkha? It is the complete extinction and cessation of this very craving, its abandoning and discarding, the liberation and detachment from it." Bhikkhus, when this craving is abandoned, where is it abandoned? When it ceases, where does it cease? When this craving is abandoned or ceases, it does so in the delightful and pleasurable characteristics of the world. The Buddha said, "What are the delightful and pleasurable characteristics of the world?" In the world, the eye had the characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there in the eyes. When it ceases there. In the world, the eye, the ear. In the world, the nose. In the world, the tongue. In the world, the body. In the world, the mind had the characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, visible objects. In the world, sounds. In the world, odors. In the world, tastes. In the world, tactile objects. In the world, dharmas have the characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, eye consciousness. In the world, air consciousness. In the world, nose consciousness. In the world, tongue consciousness. In the world, body consciousness. In the world, mind consciousness had characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, eye contact. In the world, air contact. In the world, nose contact. In the world, tongue contact. In the world, body contact. In the world, mind contact had characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, the feeling born of eye contact. In the world, the feeling born of air contact. In the world, the feeling born of nose contact. In the world, the feeling born of tongue contact. In the world, the feeling born of mind contact had characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, the perception of visible objects. In the world, the perception of sounds. In the world, the perception of odors. In the world, the perception of tastes. In the world, the perception of tactile objects. In the world, the perception of dharmas had characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, the volition towards visible objects. In the world, the volition towards sounds. In the world, the volition towards odors. In the world, the volition towards taste. In the world, the volition towards tactile objects. In the world, the volition towards dharmas had characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, the craving for visible objects. In the world, the craving for sounds. In the world, the craving for taste. In the world, the craving for tactile objects. In the world, the craving for dharmas had characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, the initial thinking about visible objects. In the world, initial thinking about sounds. In the world, initial thinking about odors. In the world, initial thinking about taste. In the world, initial thinking about tactile objects. In the world, initial thinking about dharmas had characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. In the world, the continuous thinking about visible objects. In the world, the continuous thinking about sounds. In the world, continuous thinking about odors. In the world, continuous thinking about tastes. In the world, continuous thinking about dharmas had characteristic of being delightful and pleasurable. When this craving is abandoned, it is abandoned there. When it ceases there. This, bhikkhus, is the noble truth of the cessation of dukkha. And these are the Buddha's words about cessation of suffering. And this is today's Dharma talk. I hope you like the talk. Subscribe my channel. As I said, I have a wish to bring those people who have great affinity with Buddha to the holy places in India to see the Buddha in a vulture peak, to make a vow in front of the Buddha, which is what I did. At the end, please join your palms. We'll transfer the merit together. May the merit and virtue accrued from this work adorn the Buddha's Pure Lands, repaying 4 kinds of kindness above and aiding those suffering in the path below. May those who say and hear all this all bring forth the resolve for Buddha, and when this retribution body is over, be born together in ultimate bliss. Namo Amitabha. Thank you everyone for being here, listening to today's Dharma talk. I'll see you next time. Bye.